Alrighty. Yes, you good?
Yeah.
Sweet. Good start. All right, so let's talk Shiraz.
Sharez. Sharez.
It's funny because Shirazy Dazzy. It's funny because, like, whatever the first episode that we did, we were like shitting on. We were like, oh no, it was the second one. I think I made some stupid comment like, when are we gonna get to do like big extracted fucking stupid shit? And I listened to that back because I was editing it, and I was like, or not editing, but whatever, getting it ready, and I was like, I kind of like that shit sometimes,
Yeah.
And there's there's like whatever fucking culture like bias against it. But I made some lamb tonight, and I still have some lamb right here that I'm about to eat while I drink this and talk to you. And it's pretty fucking good. So, but yeah, so I got a Mollydooker is the name of the producer, and the wine is called Blue Eyed Boy from 2018, and they make a bunch of wines. This is their so they have like sort of like their entry level ones, whatever. They have like the Boxer and a bunch of other ones, and then they have this one, Blue Eyed Boy, and then I think there's like Carnival of Love and one other one, which are like their, so that's like base tier. Blue Eyed Boy is like second tier, I guess. Carnival of Love, and Enchanted Path, I think is another one. Those are like the third tier, and then the top tier, the fourth tier, is Velvet Glove, and that's the one that it comes in the velvet bag and all that shit. So those are like the sort of the price tiers. So I was like, all right, let's see what the fucking deal is with this, and that like wine review on Cellar Tracker, that I told you, is like thermonuclear fruit bomb. And it's funny. So I wrote a review on there, and it started out with, well, it's definitely not a thermonuclear fruit bomb, but it is very fun and delicious, and I like it.
Nice.
So
sorry, I'm having a weird sort of wondering if I've suddenly accidentally just done acid or some shit moment.
What's going on?
Have you been to their website, dude?
Mollydooker? No.
Yeah.
What are you going?
Oh, you treat yourself to this, man. Woo!
Mollydooker. What's weird about it? I guess I'll find out, right?
I'm not gonna tell you anything.
Wow, what the fuck is this? Holy Lord. Jesus Christ. You know what? This looks about right.
Yeah.
This is what I would expect. This is probably this looks like it could be a WordPress website.
I love how you can scroll all the way to the right and just none of the wines appear anymore. It's just the image in the back.
They got a bunch of fucking wines in here.
I bet new forms of epilepsy have manifested in people visiting this website.
This is really something.
Yeah.
It's like they were like, let's just think Alice in Wonderland, but Australian. And you're like, okay.
Yep.
If Alice in Wonderland took place in Florida, but the Australian version of that.
Yeah.
That would be this.
I mean, that's
Yep.
It's
a site. And a deal.
Yeah.
But mine's not loading. But here we go. Yeah, they got a bunch. Wow, they really went all out.
Wow.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, Blue Eyed Boy. Oh, and then Giggle Pot apparently is one, but it's their cab. We're talking Shiraz here, my guy.
Giggle
Carnival of Love and yeah, Carnival of Love and Enchanted Path. Enchanted Path is Shiraz and cab combo. Carnival of Love is just Shiraz, and then Velvet Glove is just Shiraz.
Which you said Giggle Pot. Oh my god.
Giggle Pot. Yep.
You'll be giggling with joy after one sip.
After one sip. Yep. Anyway, but I'm probably obnoxiously eating this fucking lamb right now, but hey, let me tell you, it's fucking delicious.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
You do you. But
Put it in some pepper and just salt and pepper, and then some garlic and mint and sage and thyme and rosemary.
Yep.
Let that sit for a while. And cook this baby up, and with the you need the wine with it.
Yeah.
You need it with the wine. Dude,
Wine Spectator is all over the Velvet Glove.
I'm sure they are.
They have like.
Well, dude, there's this.
They have.
I was reading this. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Of the vintages they've submitted or at least put on their website, they only have 2 below a 97.
Yeah, so Robert Parker is basically... you said Wine Spectator or Advocate? Oh, Spectator.
I think Wine
Robert
Spectator.
Parker is basically the reason that they have wines like... that they're like essentially still around. But also like... I think they export something like 90% of their fucking wine to the U.S. Like it's essentially a U.S. wine, but it's made in Australia.
That's very bizarre.
It is, yeah. Like they make their wines for the American market essentially.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but that's the case.
Velvet Glove is $195 a bottle.
Yeah, buddy. Wow. I can guarantee you, it's probably not better than this.
I mean, honestly, this one I'm drinking, in terms of like what you're talking about big, you know, big and not apologetic for being big. Mm-hmm. Kind of nailing it.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
So I'm drinking Paxton AAA, which is a Shiraz Grenache blend, also from the McLaren Vale. It's 60% Sharez, 40% Grenache. Mm-hmm. And it's made with organic grapes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it is a $20 bottle of wine.
Excellent.
And I will tell you what, it is nothing to sneer at. It is
nothing to sneer at, my guy.
Yeah. Like it's got that big like, you know, it comes in like a fucking like, were this a Super Smash Bros. Weapon, it would be that hammer that makes your little guy go ape shit. But,
yeah, I can still hear that fucking song.
Yeah,
that's great.
But it's good. You know, you know, you always try to pick that fucker up if you see it on the battlefield.
Right.
Because it's a winner.
Yeah, that's an excellent analogy for these wines. Yeah, man. No, they're fucking good. So I guess, in case people don't know, Shiraz is just Syrah in Australia.
I can I can read a little bit from the Wikipedia article about Shiraz if you'll indulge me. Shiraz is the 5th most populous city of Iran and the capital of the Fars province known as Pars or Persis.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah. Sorry, that was very obnoxious, but I had to do it when I just typed in Google Shiraz, and that was what I got. Sorry.
If I could do a better Australian accent, I would make some joke about an Australian like showing up there and being like, "Where the fuck is all the where the fuck's all the wine?
Where the fuck's all the wine?" At the 2016,
you don't drink.
Yeah, you telling me it's haram to drink? The fuck? I don't even think that is. I don't know if that is haram.
Yeah.
Is that haram?
So what? Close enough.
How does haram work, man? I don't want to be. I don't think we've yet strayed into Islamophobia, and I really don't want to, because Islamophobia is fucking lame, and so
it's lame, bro.
I mean,
I imagine like David Duke being asked about Islamophobia. He's like, honestly, it's kind of lame. I don't really care.
David
It's just
Duke would say
lame.
that because he's like, no, that's pretty fucking lame. That's just racism for the sake of going along with the media narrative. You gotta be a down home country racist. You gotta be racist for the love of the game.
Exactly. It's so trendy, you know.
Yeah, Islamophobia is just the new kid on the block when it comes to fucking just coding your disdain for an ethnic group.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, look, David Duke would point out, it's like, look, Islamophobia only gets you so far until it is Chinese Muslims, and then all of a sudden we're worried about them getting put in camps.
Yummy. So, yeah, Syrah, right? Or Shiraz.
Shiraz.
Syrah.
Shiraz.
They call it that apparently in South Africa also.
Yeah.
And then they call Mourvedre Mataro, which is weird.
All right.
But, yeah. Well, interesting. Australia, I think in McLaren Vale, especially has some of the oldest still, like, yielding grapevines in the world. And they're from their Shiraz or Syrah.
Yeah. No, so
really cool.
There are some insane... I think the oldest Chardonnay vines that are still yielding in the world are in I don't think they're in the... I think they're also in McLaren Vale. Might be. But like Australia and South Africa actually are fascinating for that because they have pre-phylloxera vines that are still going from when they were brought over to wherever they are. Own rooted like ancient vines. There are actually a few Zinfandel vines in America that are similarly old.
Oh yeah, super old.
Yeah.
Yeah, like pre-prohibition, all that kind of shit.
Yeah. But
here we go. On barostawine.com, I knew there were like specific, like there weren't versus just like old vines or whatever, like different terminology for different ages of vines. So there's Barossa like old vine, which is greater than or equal to 35 years. There's Barossa survivor vine, which is greater than or equal to 70. Barossa centenarian vine, which is greater than or equal to 100, and then Barossa ancestor vine, which is greater than or equal to 125 years of age, which is wild. Yeah. So they got some old fuckers over there.
Yeah. Oh, and for anyone listening, Google a picture of them because they'll make you get real fucking horny to get old and arthritic. I mean, those vines look like fucking Keith Richards' hands. They're knobbly fuckers.
They're knobbly. Oh, whoops! I misspelled ancestor.
Oh. So I actually just found something on the Syrah Wikipedia page that. Oh, this is. Okay, I gotta read this now because I made the shitty joke earlier. Legends of Syrah's origins come from one of its homonyms, Shiraz. Because Shiraz, capital of the Persian Empire, produced the well-known Shirazi wine. Legends claim the Syrah grape originated in Shiraz and then was brought to Rhone. At least two significantly different versions of the myth are reported, giving different accounts on how the variety is supposed to have been brought from Shiraz to Rhone and differing up to 1,800 years in dating this event. In one version, the Phoenicians could have brought Syrah/Shiraz to their colony around Marseille, then known as Massilia, which was founded around 600 BC by the Greeks. The grape would then later have made its way to the northern Rhone, which was never colonized by the Phoenicians. No documentary evidence exists to back up this legend, and it also requires the variety to later vanish from the Marseille region without leaving any trace. The legend connecting Syrah to the city Shiraz in Iran may, however, be of French origin. James Busby wrote in Journal of a Recent Visit to the Principal Vineyards of Spain and France that the 1826 book Onologie Française stated that, according to the tradition of the neighborhood, the plant Syrah was originally brought from Shiraz in Persia by one of the hermits of the mountain called Gaspar de Stierenberg.
And that's who Hermitage is named for?
Yeah, I suppose. Nice. It's quite possible.
Nice. Yeah. That's the hermit it's named for. Cool. Nice.
Which would be
nice. So that's a certain take on the issue, I suppose.
Yeah.
Can we open up questions, opinions to our panel?
I mean, let's do it.
Mr. Duke, do you have an opinion on the subject?
Well, I really didn't get enough of the racial overtones of that story. Like, where in it was it implied that because they were from a Muslimic style region of the world, these vintners of yore. Were obviously they needed to bring the grapes to a more civilized part of the world, to into the hands of the Greeks, so that they could make something worthwhile, and that could, because culture started when Jesus died, and we need to all just you just need to give up on thinking that look, Africa has never contributed anything to the world ever at all. It's not, I'm tired of this line of thinking from people.
Yep.
This multiculturalist, it's all about denying the white man
Yep.
his feeling of being special.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which... I'm sorry, I just started thinking too much about how I just feel inadequate as a person, and my whole... Oh, thank you. That makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah. I need someone to back you up here.
But look, this isn't about me and my problems with myself and my self-image. This is about other people who... Look, melanin content in your skin determines how good a person you are. Let's just put that up there. The only saints are albinos. Which actually doesn't make sense.
That's true. That's actually today I was like
in David Duke's
that's who I was gonna
logic.
say. That's who should be nominated to be the Pope. But I legitimately got on like a 30-minute fucking distraction period, whatever. And I was trying to do the website. Just listening, watching videos on YouTube about how it, the electoral process goes for the Pope.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
They gotta put the smoke out the chimney.
Smoke out the chimney, but then it's also it was some cutesy here's YouTube animation, how to become the Pope, and it's just what
point did they tell you gotta fuck a certain number of little boys?
Ooh, yeah. Well, you got to meet your little boy quota regardless, but it's
well, that's actually just to be a priest at all. But I assume that was a comprehensive fucking.
If you're if you're an ambitious go-getter, self-starter, as one might call it.
Is it on the wrong side of irony to just drag this conversation to a brief halt to say all of the David Duke impersonation was meant to be taken as irony, but the conversation about the Catholic Church should be taken completely sincerely?
Yeah.
Woo!
Or we could be ironic about it and say the opposite.
Oh yeah, that would work.
We could flip it.
That would be very ironic.
There was some. Speaking of Islamophobia, I forget. I was cooking or something the other day. I forget. And I was saying in some like Southern accent. I forget what I was doing. It wasn't olive oil, but it was I'm sick of these here. I was I'm using this Arab oil, olive oil. It's I want this algebra and alcohol. I don't want these Arabic things in my house. It was something fucking stupid.
That literally is where the word alcohol comes from. Is the
totally. Yeah, that and algebra both.
Yeah,
but it was some other word. I don't know. I don't think it wasn't Albarino. It was it was something that starts with AL, and I was I don't know, saying some shit.
Alcatraz. But you wish you didn't live on Alcatraz anymore.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's,
Escape from Alcatraz. Yeah. What was that Harry Potter book? What was the fucking name of that place?
Azkaban.
Fuck. Yeah. Anyway, dude, this has nothing to do with Syrah. It's tangential.
It's good enough. Bring it back.
Good enough.
The Gaspard de Sterenberg was he was the Hermit of Hermitage. He's why it's called Hermitage.
Yeah.
That specific guy.
Mm-hmm. The one from Arabia, Lawrence the Hermit of Arabia.
Yeah, yeah. Gaspard de Persia. He was the Prince of Persia. Yeah, the
Prince of Persia.
The game
Perfect.
Prince of Persia is based on how he escaped with the
he took like
vines.
suitcase clones of Saw. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I must bring them to Saint Joseph doesn't exist yet, so we must bring them to, I don't know. I don't know geography well enough to know like an obscure town in the northern Rhone Valley.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't need to know a town because he was literally like that's the cool thing about Hermitage is like he was literally he got permission from the Queen of France to build a small like hut up on this hill. He just lived up there and then started growing vines, I guess, and then
just doing his thing.
Yeah, man,
doing his cute little thing.
Well, and that's one of the cool like. It's we're to risk overwrought sincerity for a moment. One of the great things about wine is if you dig into it enough, it is this amazingly like below all of the pomp and rhetoric around wine and the whole wine writing culture and all that. There is this beautifully complicated story of how like interrelated the world really is, and how like how the actual story of wine is the story of this thing that grew in the Caucasus Mountains, like the at the very like edge of Europe, and was stolen from this place that is like I guess we were joking about Italy and Spain a while ago and their economic status in the European Union, but in the history of those things, they got off easy. It's the Balkan states, the countries that were dicked around by like literally the fringes of the USSR are where wine originated.
Yeah,
like Georgia. Yeah. Like ancient winemaking traditions exist there, and they don't get any credit because like then that would be too much of an examination of the real history of our of Western colonial mindset. Like the idea that culture started with Christ is like, as much as I was saying it as a joke, there's truth to how much that narrative matters to so many things, and wine is certainly one of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially because the significance of it in religion.
Oh yeah,
and in the Bible and everything.
Oh yeah, blood of Christ, baby.
Blood of Christ, baby, and then used like for ceremonial purposes or whatever, in the church, and a lot of places got away with that excuse during Prohibition to be able to keep their vines and shit.
No, it's one of the hilarious like qualities of the national like drink of both Chile and Peru. Pisco is the product of them trying to make wine to make sacramental wine, and the wine going bad, and then being like, well, we need to, because like they were making it on like in pretty marginal contexts, and then they were like, well, if we distill it, we can hang on to it longer. And I was like, well, now we're just making brandy and getting shit faced. All right, good enough. Let's do it.
A little bitters, some lime,
hey.
The egg white in here, have a great time.
Pisco sours are fucking awesome, man. They're a great.
Pisco sours are great.
Yeah,
they're up there with gin and tonics is one of my favorite things to just get just hammered on.
Oh, getting drunk on Pisco sours is one of the that's one of life's greatest joys. It's
great.
Oh man, it just.
Oh, I think we got Pisco up here too. And we got bitters. Ooh, we're having Pisco sours too. Might just watch The Sopranos and drink Pisco sours all day tomorrow.
Yeah, dude, do it. That's
just fucking pass out at 5 p.m. Wake up at 8:30, so hungover. So I've never been miserably hungover at 8:30 p.m. before, and I want to die. But that was great.
That sounds like a great time, man.
Yeah, man, you should come out and hang out. Break quarantine
to travel all the way across the country.
Yeah,
fuck quarantine.
You pulled over. You're like, I'm officer. I'm wearing a face mask. Yeah. Okay, you can't tell me shit.
Dude. Dude, God damn it.
Did I tell you I had a dream that I drove all the way out there?
No.
Like this is like I don't know 2 or 3 months ago, probably 2 months ago. I drove out there like just to go to like Grain Station.
Oh, you did tell me
play
about
darts with you and drink beer. Like that was the only.
That's awesome.
I was like, I got out of the car and like got into there and had a like broken paddle and was like, this was worth it. And I was like, I'm not gonna look too much into this because this is. Yeah, but. Ooh, yeah, I got to tell you some like bunch of stuff after. Not a bunch of stuff, but some things after.
Yeah.
About some wine.
Ooh, nice.
But
nice.
Yeah, dude, that was. Who knows, man? If I can't get a job.
Oh, dude, I had a weird ass dream last night. I don't think it was at all related to what you're talking about, but but sorry, what you said made me think of it because it was a similar like. I don't want to look too much into that, but I feel like the indication is that like my priorities are very weird right now.
What was it?
I don't even like. Oh right, that was what it was. I had a dream that I took an Instagram video at a party. Like, I think I filmed myself. And a woman, like, I think we, like, basically made, like, homemade porn and then put it on Instagram.
Nice.
And then,
that's classy.
Yeah, but then, like, it was just in the middle of this party that was going on. And there were all these people in the background that, like, the next day she'd left her phone there. And they got a hold of me because they'd seen it on Instagram, and they were like, you're fucking dead. Because, like, a bunch of the people who were in that Instagram video that you shot, that people saw, are fucking on the run from the cops because they murdered people.
Wow.
It's like, what? Because there was this whole other, like, narrative about why I'd ended up at that party, and I wasn't totally comfortable with being there, but, like, had just, like, done, like, a bunch of drugs or something, and was, like, coerced into whatever I was doing with this woman. But by just being like, fuck it, I'm already like in for a penny, in for a pound, right? Let's put this shit on Instagram. And then they were like, no, we're going to hunt you down and murder you. And then I was just like on the run from these people in this like bombed out cityscape. It was like if Mad Max were happening in the world of like GTA 5.
Wow.
I don't know. It was a weird dream, man. And then I woke up and I was just like, I don't know how to deal with any of that because like it all feels very Freudian, but I also don't understand like why any of that would relate to like I feel like the point of a Freudian thing like that upon self-reflection is like you don't want to admit the thing that it's about.
Yeah.
But I always have dreams like that, and then I'm like, I don't know what that was about, and I don't know what I don't want to admit about it, but like I'm perfectly happy to tell someone about that dream because it was like weird and funny. Right.
Yeah. This is speaking of the GTA 5 thing. This is totally off point. I don't know if we're gonna edit any of this out. Probably shouldn't. Whatever.
No.
One of my friends was telling me about like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna start playing Animal Crossing, and I was like, okay. I was like, what I heard about that is it's just like GTA, but like you can't kill anybody. And he was like, no, not at all. And I was like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, well, like you start out, you got to like create your own society, and it's weird because like there's like times and it's like real life time. So it's like if they're like, yeah, no, you got to wait till tomorrow. You actually like have to wait till tomorrow to do something. And he starts to describe it, and I'm like, that just sounds like you're just doing a bunch of chores all the time. And he's like, yeah, it kind of is. I'm like, why the fuck are you doing this? And I was like, I like my video games to be completely unrealistic. It's like, yeah, I like in GTA, I can like shoot a cop in the face and then I go get my car repainted and I'm good. Oh, it's as long as nobody sees me get my car repainted, it doesn't matter.
I think that's why people like Red Dead Redemption, the second one that just came out, because it's a mix of like stuff that is like sort of that realism. Like, it makes you feel grounded, because, like, he grows a beard, and if you don't shave it, he just grows a fucking beard. But then it's full of, like, completely unrealistic stuff. Like, you can just shoot people in the face and then ride away on a horse.
Yeah.
But, I don't get games like that. Like, back in the day when... Cause Animal Crossing, from my understanding, is just Farmville repackaged. from back when
I forgot about Farmville.
Dude,
oh shit.
And this is again on that whole lathe of history thing.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets about Farmville. Everyone forgets about all of these things we did like 3 years ago. And Farmville was, I guess, longer ago than that, like 8 years ago. We just live in this hamster wheel of technology where it's like, it's just the same stuff, but they just put like better graphics on it and made you feel like it was better. Like, that's
100%.
It's why I love, I do love Super Smash Bros. As a video game. It is probably my favorite video game. It's the only one I've ever played enough to like comment on that quality of it. And the thing I love about it is that you can go play the original one, and it's like, in terms of value for like fun, basically as good as any of the other ones. Like you go play the other ones, and you're like, actually, I don't like this as much because like I have to be better at it. And you go back to the original one, and you're like, yeah, this is glitchy as hell, and it's great because like the great thing about this game is it actually makes me interact with the people I'm with. Because it's this preposterous 2-dimensional game. Like it's a 2-dimensional game.
Yeah.
It's just like it's so simple and so preposterous and great.
Yeah.
And that's I get worried when people are like, no, but you got to go play like, you got to go play I don't even like you got to go play Dark Souls 3 because it's like so hard. Like it's so hard, you feel inadequate because of how hard it is and how bad you are at it. It's like, why would I want that experience from why wouldn't I go try to learn how to speak Chinese or something if I wanted to feel inadequate at something?
Right.
It's like, well, I mean, because basically you just force people into admitting it's like, no, but I want to like chop zombies up and feel like I'm actually doing that. It's like, okay, but like you realize that you're just like tricking your brain slightly by seeing all that stuff. Like you could just read a book about doing that. It's like, but I actually get to like cut zombies apart. And it's like,
I get to do it.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, man.
I don't. This is not, I guess, something you should say on a podcast ever, but I don't fucking. I like some video games. Like I love Super Smash Bros. I like racing video games. I like.
Yeah, those are really fun.
Yeah, but I don't like. Every time, like when people talk about playing like Call of Duty, that something about that creeps the shit out of me.
Oh, dude, yeah.
People are really into it.
It's like, no, this is what's going on in the world right now. It's like I could go somewhere in the Middle East and just kill innocent people, like, or I could just play this game and kill innocent people.
Well, but it also like
it's like this is a training tool.
Yeah, but it also frames. It literally is. Like, I mean, the Department of Defense invests huge money into the video game industry, but it
nice.
Yeah, man, it's fucked up. The Army actually has very funny, well, not funny at all, but they have huge connections to Hollywood as well. Or like, and this is exactly the kind of thing that I need to go like research to the point that I can provide citations for stuff like this. But it's almost obvious. But take it on that I like learned this from somebody who was good enough to cite their sources. The Army will review the scripts of movies that want to use like military equipment, and decide whether or not they're patriotic enough. So it's part of like why Michael Bay's movies have like tanks and shit in them, because because they fit a certain mold or whatever. Yeah, he will do whatever they ask him to do to the script or plot of the movie.
Nice.
And like all kinds of stuff like that. This is very like Hollywood and the Army are quite hand in glove a lot of the time, so it's like movies like The Hurt Locker or Zero Dark 30 are never going to fundamentally deviate from what the Army wants in terms of representation of themselves, because for those movies to be as realistic as they look, the Army has to sign off on them, which is like obvious. Like as soon as you know that, why would you approach any of that stuff with any credulity? Like same is true with those video games, where it's like, you're not just playing this game. You're being told something about the world that you live in. And you're being told it by somebody who has, like, a pretty fucking obvious agenda. And it's like...
Yeah, people don't want to fucking think about it.
No, they do not. And because... Which is very obvious in, like, how little time it takes to think about it before you're like, holy shit, that's fucking horrifying.
Right.
It takes all, like, 3 minutes to think about Call of Duty Modern Warfare and be like, I feel like I should be really suspicious about who they say the bad guys are in Modern Warfare.
Right. No, but I feel like one of the most fucked up parts to me is that you can tell a lot of people, like, hey, this is fucked up, and nobody's, like, surprised by it.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, no, I mean, probably. And like, yeah, but that's a problem.
Oh, dude, that's why I can't fucking... I want to talk to people about Tiger King, but every time I, like, go, like, see any meme about it or anything, or, like, mention it to people, there are so, like, many layers of fucked up in that it all just kind of, like... Because there are just all of these... peaks of, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, the animal abuse is so horrifying. The fucking suicide is so horrifying. The guy eating the meat from the back of the truck is so horrifying.
Oh my god, yeah.
The amount people are getting paid is so horrifying. The fucking people volunteering to work for Carol Baskin is so horrifying. The fucking sex cult that, you know, basically minors are coerced into is so horrifying. Yeah. That eventually you just kind of, like, go, fuck it. I'm oversaturated now. I just gotta laugh at Joe Exotic being a fucking unapologetic cuckoo banana pants man. Because I will be honest. One of the best memes I've seen of quarantine was a picture of Carol Baskin. Like, the caption was like, me video conferencing on the first day of quarantine, and it's Carol Baskin saying, "What's up, all you cool cats and kittens?" And then it was like me video conferencing on the second week of quarantine, and it's Joe Exotic saying, "Guess what, motherfucker?" It's like, that is good. That is very funny. Both of those people are probably murderers. And one of them is only a murderer of cats, but still.
A murderer nevertheless.
Dude.
Yeah. So, yeah, Shiraz, right?
That grape is good.
PP.
Well, so what we're talking about, I don't think, like, I have a penchant for trying to tie in things that are wildly disparate in terms of, like, what they are and how you can have a conversation about them. But I think that I'm gonna try.
Let's see if you can do it, buddy.
Yeah. Like, there's this whole notion that you don't have to think, like, as soon as it's Shiraz and not Syrah, or as soon as it's even just Syrah and not Hermitage or Côte de Rhône, you don't have to take it as seriously or think about it as hard. But it's the same grape, and depending on where it's being grown, and then who's doing the winemaking from it, or with it, it can mean just as much and be just as serious, because it's, you know, it's not like the narrative about the thing is not the thing. Like, the, you know, what people have to say about it is not it. What people have said about Shiraz as opposed to Côte de Rhône or whatever only actually impacts your experience with it insofar as, like, you let it. It's the inverse of the placebo effect, I guess, or maybe it just is the placebo effect itself. I don't know. I'm not. I don't care enough to think that through. But, like, this wine is fucking great, man. This wine that I'm drinking is, like,
nice.
I spent $20 on it. It's made with organic grapes. It's not like it's big, it's jammy, it's, like, lush. But you know what? It's a great example of the kind of wine that if somebody, like, really took issue with it on the grounds of its quality, I would probably just end up wanting to tell them to shut the fuck up, because it'd be like somebody telling me, oh no, the graphics in Call of Duty Modern Warfare are just so much better than the graphics in fucking Super Smash Bros, the original one. Like, how can you even stand to play that N64 game?
And therefore it makes it better.
Yeah, it's like, no, fuck off. I have a better time playing this game where I get to be a giant monkey waving a huge hammer, slapping a little elf man into oblivion. That makes me happy. I don't want to be some, like, camoed out, mutton chopped, dude from Louisiana sniping ISIS insurgents in the head in some, fictionalized version of Afghanistan, just because the graphics are that much better and I can feel like I'm actually, blowing the brains out of some poor farmer turned militant who, for a set of political and like social reasons that are never gone into in the text of your fucking great graphics, has very legitimate grievances with a world order that decided it was fine to just drone the shit out of his village and kill most of his family and friends. Like, that's more complex and in theory should be more compelling, but the lens through which I'm being given it makes me completely dehumanize that person, so why would I even care? That's the experience of drinking fucking $700 a bottle Chateauneuf de Pape just because your Somme told you it was the thing most likely to make the escort you brought with you to this fancy restaurant actually pretend she enjoys the sex you're paying her for later.
That's so funny, man. One real quick thing. Also, I love the fact that in Super Smash Bros, like when a character like quote unquote dies, they just fall off the stage. Like in some 3D sense. Like there's no that's the worst violence. Like like you don't actually ever see anybody punch each other. They just like do it, and then like it's just so quick. You don't see anybody actually like getting.
The more you get hit, the more likely getting hit will turn you into a rocket that propels you into oblivion, which is just off camera. And then you get also the fact that like hover platformed back into existence.
You get brought back like you're an angel. To like bring a message to somebody else. And
man, I defy any child who didn't like start playing that game and make their character choice purely based on like aesthetics. Like, I remember vividly thinking Link was the best character because he had a sword, which is like, duh. Of course he's the best one. Come to find out, the best character in that original version, who's so fucking overpowered that you're not allowed to play as him at competitions, because there are Super Smash Bros. Competitions, for anyone listening to this who didn't know that.
Totally.
Is Pikachu... in the original version, Pikachu is so
it's so unfair,
so fucking just beyond every other character. Like, he's legitimately just better. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm actually, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of proud of that little, like...
that tie-in. I mean,
that I wouldn't say... a lot better than I was expecting. I'm not saying it worked super well.
Was, I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10.
That's fair.
But I would say that, given the fact that we were clearly off topic and weren't even trying to keep it, and the fact that you managed to tie it in the way you did, I mean a 9.9.
Oh, I thank you.
So
you're generous. So I'll be honest, you're generous. We got to set a high bar for ourselves. We got to. We do. We've got to remind ourselves of the name of this podcast that is not being used, and hold ourselves to that standard.
Ooh, that's yeah. That's an really good sound. I mean, I think much like our government, we regulate ourselves.
Yeah.
We are our own checks and balances.
Yeah.
So it's just like, no, just like trust us. We're cool. We're good. We're good. We're all cool. Don't worry. Just trust us. We're cool.
You can trust us.
You can trust us. Don't worry. Don't worry. Why? I mean, you elected us. So like, I mean, you didn't elect me. You elected that guy who then like chose me to be in this position. So like, you sort of elected me, but don't worry about it. Just don't think about it. Okay. Like, you're good. I mean, you didn't even elect me. This other guy and them, well, not by like popular, not by like majority, but through this way that we've like manufactured essentially over the course of years through lobbying. So no, we got the minority of the population to vote for us, but we manipulated it such that we ended up winning anyway. So yeah, so you didn't vote for us. The majority of the country didn't. But don't think about it. Just let it go.
You know,
just watch Tiger King a second time.
Oh, God damn it, man.
Or watch I don't know what the fuck else is on. No. Just think about Baby. I know Baby Yoda's like outdated at this point, but I'm like a
perennial favorite's the Great British Baking Show, which I do legitimately like. But it is
that show's great. I love
it. Fantastic, but it is.
It's so good.
But the problem is that it has become this like safe haven for like a certain class of liberal who's like, but these Brits, like, this isn't like an American cooking show. They're so nice to each other. And it's like, yeah, because they have nationalized health care. You notice how all of these people have jobs, but also time to like be fucking world class bakers as a hobby.
Right.
That's
Yep. Yeah, they have rights.
yeah. Dude, what you were just saying about, so it's a point that like is buried into like a lot of the rhetoric, but like what you were just saying about the electoral system in this country.
Yeah.
The biggest threat Bernie Sanders ever posed to the establishment.
Abolishing the electoral?
No. The greatest threat Bernie Sanders ever posed to the establishment was fulfilling the promise of electoral politics as actually working for the populace to affect positive change through the established means, because the established means were all contrived under the pretense that they were the most equitable, most fair, most reasonable, most well-reasoned system of governance. And Bernie Sanders came along and was like, yeah, okay, we'll play that game. Do people think I'm the best? And people would have said yes if that system were actually supposed to relate to those values. Like, like everyone complaining about, like, Trump being president despite not winning the popular vote or something is like, all right, well, by the same token, you should be pissed that Bernie Sanders isn't the Democratic nominee because of the contrivances of the Democratic Party to turn that into a non-democratic process. If you really believed what you're saying about Trump deserving not to be the president because he lost the popular vote, you're also saying that everybody who runs for president should be subject to the votes of everyone in the country. Like, there should not be partisan primaries. If you want to run for president, you have to get a majority of like everyone's. Like, we're almost to that point where the like definitions of parties has become so defanged in most people's mindset. Like, people just think of them as these ideologies and not actual functions of like government organization. That you could say like, everyone gets to vote for their favorite Democrat candidate and everyone gets to vote for their favorite Republican candidate, and you identify as Republican or Democrat like only on the basis of your Facebook feed, but you get to vote on whoever. But that'll never happen because the structure of the primaries is explicitly designed, well, not explicitly, but like implicitly designed to allow for those institutions of power to, design the outcomes that they want. Yeah.
Dude, you know what I was thinking about today that was really pissing me off? And actually, I've been thinking about it for the past couple of days, is that people being like, one of my friends was like, yeah, no, well, I couldn't support Bernie Sanders because like a lot of my friends who are like, they're really liberal, they would be like, no, if he's the nominee, I would not vote for him. Like, there's no way. And they're like, yeah, he's not electable. We got to get these people who are in the middle who are like, no, if he's the nominee, I'm voting for Trump. It's like, all right, well, let's just assume that that's not like fictional. That the whole narrative is like really gun to their head, like him or him, you would choose Bernie, But let's assume that's not. Okay, so keep that in mind that you're defending those people. How about all the people who supported Bernie Sanders and are now like, okay, Joe Biden or him, and they're like, no, I'm not going to. Why are they all of a sudden like the assholes in the scenario, whereas what you're describing, you're trying to protect these other people and get their votes
for exactly the same.
Why are
scenario.
you so concerned about
that? And
it's ridiculous.
The awesome thing that is gonna suck come November is the difference between those people. Is that the people who said it about Bernie, like if he's not the nominee, I won't vote for either of these fuckers.
Yeah,
they meant it because they liked Bernie. Because those people think of politics in a fundamentally different way. They think of politics as something that is beholden unto them as citizens. They think of politics as simply the orchestrations by which we deal with the fact that groups of people as large as our culture has become need some, infrastructure to their government. And plenty of people who honestly don't think that were prepared to vote for Bernie. Like like Bernie's the only political candidate who like has gotten even close to, appealing to ideological anarchists because he articulates something towards that. Like if you really like are a pragmatist and an anarchist at the same time, you're someone whose mindset is like, well, we need certain things first before we can achieve anarchy. So
yeah.
But we also don't talk about anarchy as like a legitimate political philosophy anymore, which is a huge problem in itself. But
yeah, I think it's cool that like Chomsky's take on it. They're like, he's like, no, I mean, I think there's like a misconception that anarchy is associated with chaos, and that's how it's represented in terms of media and in terms of ideology, and it's not what it represents. And so it's sort of gone on about it, but and then he went on his tangent about libertarianism and how it's just not what it is at all, or libertarianism in terms of like whatever mainstream people, and they have these fucking debates where it's just like who's the bigger asshole, and it's not actually libertarianism at all, but it's fucking extreme capitalism. And we talked about that already.
No, but I mean, it's like I don't mind any of these conversations happening in this context on this podcast because I think something that I find very distasteful about wine and wine culture is how depoliticized it generally is, or how much people want it to pretend it's depoliticized until they feel like comfortable to reveal their true colors. And the fact is, a lot of
bring it back in.
Well, let's do it. A lot of people at the upper echelons of fucking the wine industry, the people who actually make a lot of money off of wine, tend to be pretty conservative because
bingo.
Well, like because that is like it's literally part of the discourse. So. Yeah. Wine people don't want to talk about politics, but politics people want to talk about wine, and they do it when they talk about beer candidates versus wine candidates. You talk about a beer candidate, he's someone that you're like, it's literally the line of like, oh, I want someone to be president that I feel like I could sit down and have a beer with, which is fucking dog shit politics because like, I feel like I could sit down and have a beer with George W. Bush, but I would also feel like a trash person if at the end of that conversation or at the end of that beer I didn't smash the beer bottle on the picnic table and use it to shank the motherfucker because he's a war criminal and one of the worst people to ever live. Well, maybe not ever. That's a stretch.
Oh, wait. Fuck.
Parody.
I was trying to remember something before.
Whatever that means. I don't know. I'm not actually threatening George Bush's life.
Yeah.
Listening cares about the things I say.
Oh, fuck, it's gone.
Oh, sorry, man.
No. Oh, wait. There's this one thought that keeps going in and out. Oh, that's right. So back to Bernie Sanders and like the people who come November they're not going to vote, whatever it is.
Oh, they actually mean it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing because like those people who like they will be proud to not vote for either of them. Yeah. Because it'll mean like no, this is part of my stance rather than like oh yeah, like they're trying to prove a point in that. By them not voting, they're actively not feeding into the system that is trying to get them to conform to just vote for Joe Biden because he's like the least least disgusting like pill to take.
Well, a lot of the people most excited about voting for Bernie Sanders, like a lot of the people who are probably doing the most work to try and get him elected, are the people most in a normal context, unlikely to vote at all. Because they're ideologically opposed to electoralism, because electoralism is another tool of oppression, basically. And that's not like there is an argument to be made that like the people least likely to go vote are just the most apathetic, but you know that's a completely different conversation about like again the culture of like fucking Tiger King, which is like we live in this milieu of noise and indications without meaning and action devoid of moral reflection. That indicates to people so often that the correct thing to do is just be numb and not consider anything to have any value, like to not feel anything. Like the idea, it's the thing. So it's the thing that I love so much about, and I was really enjoying about listening to Immortal Technique is, he's mad, he's angry, and he talks about things that made me realize I'm angry too, but he did it in a way that's really helpful because it makes you feel like anger is something you have a responsibility towards. Like when you feel it, you need to use it while you have it, and you need to use it carefully. You need to think about where it comes from and be precise with it. If you're just mad and you don't take responsibility for that anger, you will lash out and do something stupid and meaningless. But if you feel anger as a real feeling that matters to you and relates to who you are as a person, you can go out and interact more honestly with the world. And people have just had that notion taken away from them, I think, over a long period of time. And it's one that like because one of the things I like about wine is like wine is something I can get mad about, which like it's not my favorite emotional like wave like spectrum to exist within, but I think my anger about the wine industry is something that has made me a better person because it like it shapes what I choose to think about, and it has helped me think about politics in a more meaningful way because like because people get exploited in the wine industry all the time, and I don't know who it is that gets exploited in Australia, but I'm sure it's I'm sure it happens. Yeah. Honestly, I think there's.
I mean, it's probably similar to. What were you gonna say?
Well, I think there's slightly less exploitation in the Australian wine industry because people's like Australia is one of the few regions where people are like, oh yeah, if you want to go work a harvest and actually make some money just working a harvest, go to Australia. Yeah, it's one of the only regions people say that about.
Damn, I should have gone down there. Worked in. Oh fuck! You know what I should have done?
Always time, man.
I should have gone down there. Worked in at Heathcote. That would have been fucking cool. Yeah. Making some big old Shirezes.
No, dude, I still think about doing an Australian vintage. It's something that, I think would be fun. I think it'd be a good time.
Yeah.
The country's not, I think on fire next season.
On fire. Dude, yeah, I was thinking of it before. I was like, damn, if I really can't find a job by next fall, like, do I just work another harvest?
I mean, there are worse things.
There are worse things. Just back in the granary district.
Dude.
Just
do it. I'd give you a hell of a recommendation to a couple well, you wouldn't even need it. You have places that you would already get hired, but there are a couple places that, if you felt like working there, I could offer my recommendation.
Yeah, if I was gonna work another harvest, I don't even know where the fuck I would. I mean, Europe's kind of off limits. I wouldn't think I would want to go back to California. It would probably be, it'd be Oregon or Washington, and it would probably be Oregon.
Yeah.
Unless I wanted to do like a sparkling house. We should do a sparkling episode, and I want to get a bottle of Domaine Carneros because it's so fucking good.
Nice.
And Domaine Carneros is one of the places that, like, all right, if I was going to go in California, I would go there or like Rotor Estate maybe. Those two places, but then otherwise Oregon, I would just go back there and do more Pinot and Chard.
I mean, there's actually some quite good sparkling being made here at this point as well. Nobody's doing exclusively sparkling, but it's just
actually, yeah.
There are actually some places. There's some vineyards here that should be dedicated to sparkling.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
yeah. See, I don't know how we're gonna edit this shit and make any of this fucking work.
I think we just make this its own episode.
Just the whole thing.
Yeah. We talked a lot about Syrah functionally
mm-hmm.
on the Rhone episode. Even though we were talking about Grenache.
Talking about Grenache, but still.
But I don't know, man. I like the wine's really good. It's really like
it is.
I think that I kind of exhausted the like earnest ability to talk about this in terms of wine on the Sauvignon Blanc episode, but
rest in peace.
Yeah, but the thing that I think like defines this for me, or like what my experience is with this right now, is like this is a $20 bottle of wine, and it's like it's got this. It's a fruit bomb. For sure, it's this big obvious thing, but it's not bad. Like it's like I don't know. Like, personally, I'm pretty happy with this episode because of the fucking Super Smash Bros. Analogy. That, and I don't like. I'm sure some Australian would maybe get offended about that, or like, but I really don't mean it. Like, this is fun. This is wine that like I want to drink and just great. Have a good time with. And I don't want that taken away from me by somebody explaining to me why I should prefer Chateauneuf du Pape or Hermitage or whatever. Like, Syrah isn't this thing that's only good when it's being done by places that charge you $200 a bottle and have, you know, some history about Gaspard to wherever the fuck, you know, coming back from Iran. Because as far as I remember, in the second Somme movie where they talk about that, when they talk about Hermitage, and they really suck Hermitage's dick in that big time. That movie, they talk about the hermit a little bit, I think, but they don't.
Yeah, they do.
They don't mention that he came back from Iran as part of the Crusades. Like they don't go into the real politics of it. They don't go into like the real like the details that are, you know, where like, you know, it's the problem with truth is you have to have all the details, and the details being the details become, you know, multiform. But you gotta at least go after enough details that you at some point stop and go, wait, a shitty joke made about like, oh, Shiraz is the 5th most populous city in Iran turns out to actually be important to the story of Syrah. And there's this weird post-colonial thing that happens with a region like Australia where they call Shiraz, which might be the more correct name for it,
right? In
a current political moment of reminding people that this grape comes from Iran, which like you know, like what would you like what would you do about the joke of like sitting down at a dinner table with somebody? Like, what would somebody do if they sat down at a dinner table with us and we're like, ooh, I really want to pour you guys this Hermitage that I really love, and one of us shitheads was just like, oh yeah, give me some of that Iranian wine, I love it. Because there would be some deeper truth to that statement, but it takes so much explanation and it's so complicated, and you know, it belies the narrative people want to have about wine. But the truth sucks because it's hard and you have to go looking for it. Then when you find it,
that's the thing. It's like it's so much easier to just not fucking think about it. But it's like, no, you gain so much by, you know, in investigating it, not just for the fact of what it is, but also just having the broader context of just the way that things are in the world. And it's like, oh yeah, no, I didn't know that. But it's like, oh wow, it's interesting how like just people tried to, or just like France just tried to like completely not, it's not like they didn't like whitewash that. I mean, they kind of did. They totally did. But they didn't like try to prevent people from knowing that. I mean, no, they kind of did. But
that you're right that there's like
they just claimed it their own.
Yeah, and there's this latent, I mean, France should I think be like kind of taken to task for that generally with the idea of wine, or like the idea of wine should be like if somebody just says wine, what country do you think of?
Yeah,
it's like
it's France.
But
yeah.
And so all of that there are a couple different points, and I don't know if I'll remember both of them through the end of this, but exactly what you're saying is so funny about this, because like I don't need to think all that hard about this wine because it is so fun. It just floats in my experience. Yeah. Like I'm just sitting here drinking it. I'm having a good time, and it's getting me drunk, and I'm not, and I'm enjoying tasting it, and all of that stuff. It's just working on that level. I don't need to think about it harder, and if I do, I can. And I'm not let down at any point or anything. But that runs you back up against this weird concept of like the versions that are only good because you know how to think about them hard. So it's like you drink an Hermitage and someone's like, well, this is the best expression of Shiraz. It's like, but I just want a fucking Australian one. And they're like, well, you don't have good taste then. It's like, well, you know what? Yeah. Fuck it. I don't have good taste. Fuck you.
Right.
But then, if you then include the like political element, it's like, no. Actually, it's not about how it tastes. I prefer Australian Shiraz because they call it Shiraz, and like I like just the like weird little comment on like the history that makes. Someone might be like, and I'm sure that there are interstitial points that can be made about like, well, that's not really the point they're making or anything or whatever. But it's like, yeah, but I don't like the fact that France owns the concept of wine culturally. Tacitly, and we all just kind of, the relationship of all those things, like they don't cop to they don't discuss at all the inherent subjectivity of truth as a concept.
Yeah.
It's like.
No, yeah, it would be much more honest for French people to just to call it Shiraz if that is indeed where it.
Yeah, like, we don't know.
If that's where it came from. Yeah. But I mean, I guess that's just, and it's I guess that's also kind of, assuming that at some point the French were trying to claim it as their own, and therefore actively decided to not call it Shiraz.
Yeah.
When it could have just been some strange, like, oh yeah, no, just like a game of telephone that just turned into like Syrah, and then people just started calling it Syrah.
And stuff like that happens all the time. It's like
it happens all the fucking time.
The fucking like a great example is the second most translated book, and I think second most published book after the Bible. Certainly the second most translated book after the Bible is the Tao Te Ching, which, that literally those words have been written umpteen different ways, because it's like, well, the Chinese sounds are these, and we can write those in English any number of ways, but like just depending on what era of translation you pick that up from, the number of D's and J's you'll see in the words versus the number of T's and CH's you'll see is like, I don't know, it just becomes this whole thing where like people, it gets to the point that you wonder if you're even looking at the same thing. So
yeah.
Like the nature of how all of these words were pronounced in the year 1200, which, it's amazing that it sounds that similar at all. I mean,
yeah.
That wasn't a particularly well made point, but
yeah, no, I got what you're saying. All right, you want to wrap this bitch up so we can talk like a couple of big boys?
Let's do it.